We were so damn close. Since Bernie suspended his campaign, you have heard hot takes and blame thrown around. You've seen notable left leaders getting into Twitter fights over post-mortem analyses. You've seen Bernie's own senior advisors insulting each other through the press. Look, we are raw, understandably so. And we are getting provoked by neoliberal instigated drama. Folks have turned on Bernie Sanders and said that he sold out. Leftists are arguing once again about general election voting plans. Jesus Christ, Noam Chomsky is being called a shill, guys. I have a question for you. Do you want to win? Do you have what it takes to win? Sure, we went into the fight with a candidate that pissed off and defied billionaires and monopolies and the neoliberal think tanks and mainstream media and the DNC consultants and the warmongers and, of course, the country's political royalty. But even after all that 2016 drama, the blaming by the establishment, the name-calling, the smear campaigns, and the hit piece cancellation attempts, Bernie Sanders started off with the highest name ID and favorability. He had millions of small dollar donors. He had a behemoth email list. He had a plug-and-play campaign and a base that only needed like a little bit of effort to solidify. Bernie had it all. Bernie was the biggest threat to the corporate and neoliberal and neocon forces in generations, possibly actually ever. But we don't have time to assess. We don't have time to point fingers. I definitely have that temptation. We have to understand in our bones that for our survival, we, the people, need to understand our power and we need to know how to use it. It is on us now. No leader, no candidate, no party, no electoral strategy, no organization, no media or single action is going to save us, guys. This is going to be a lifetime of work. It is going to be a long fight. We can't get tired. We can't throw our hands up in the air now. That is how they win. That is how they won the last time around. That is how they won 2 generations ago. They wear us down. So what can be done right now to utilize the power that we have earned? Well, first, we have to learn about power. What is our power? The demographics of this country are very clear. Republicans and the oligarch class, they knew this as far back as the late 70s, when they saw the population becoming more diverse and more Democratic leaning. The Koch brothers, they infused massive amounts of cash into groups that fought to win state legislatures, and they worked on gerrymandering to keep the GOP in power and elect conservative judges for generations to come. Meanwhile, the Democrats, they shifted their eyes, from the prize and to their wallets as the GOP attacked unions, the pipelines for democratic organizing in every community. The Republicans attacked our power base and our power tools, even though the population has only become more favorable to Democrats and to progressives. But in this last generation, something else happened. People are way less trusting of institutions and parties, especially those under 40. Perhaps it's the 9/11 generation that has had hanging chads, surveillance, multiple recessions, 2 major wars, and multiple silent invasions, a broken electoral system, mountains of debt, minimal social safety, and the starkest income inequality in history with the highest cost of living. Sound about right? As the Democratic Party loses us, the millennials, the Zoomers, they've been flexing their capitalist muscles. They still write and interpret electoral rules, and they influence the mainstream media to make sure that they, the elites, keep that control that's not reflective of demographics, not reflective of the majority of Democratic voters now or the future of America entirely. If we don't understand their power, the power a few have in maintaining an electoral system that goes against what most Americans expressively want and need, then the Cuomos and the Chelsea Clintons of the party may maintain power for another 2 decades. Let me be clear. Winning the 60-year-old plus Democratic primary votes in a handful of early states because the mainstream media that almost exclusively speaks to them influence them, that's not muscle. That is manipulation. So how do 70% of Democratic voters under 50 the progressives, how do we use our power? How do we build on our power? First, we need solidarity. Professional union busters disrupt organizers by pitting folks against each other with smears and gossip and drama. They pitted ethnic and racial groups against each other. And what is happening right now in the aftermath of Bernie's campaign, that is not solidarity. And I believe that that is by design. There are professional provocateurs in the movement, in the media, and on the outside, and online, of course, working against us. So my advice is to take a breath. Pick your battles. Be strategic. If we spend all of our finite energy fighting and blaming each other, the elites are laughing. The Republicans and the Democrats in power, they laugh. They were strategic enough to realize that they only really needed to solidify the 60-year-old plus prime Democratic voters and expand a little bit past that. We were not going to take over MSNBC and convince institutional Democratic voters in a flash to ignore their propaganda. Just as Nancy Pelosi isn't going to win the right-wing Fox News viewers anytime soon, we weren't going to win their hardened base. And if we try to scrape off a few of their supporters with our economic inclusive message, well, the neoliberals use their power in the media to kick us out and to kick us down. But 4 years from now, either under Joe Biden or his VP's administration, or when we have another heated Democratic primary, our power base will have grown even more, with the largest, most progressive, diverse generation in history getting older and voting at higher rates, because that's what happens historically. And with our message probably appealing to more folks. This is all while the Republican and neoliberal base will have, well, aged out more so. Demographics are indeed on our side, but only if we know how to use them. Only if we maintain militant solidarity. Only if we are strategic with our battles. Only if we all do our own part in talking to people outside of our circles with a little bit of empathy. It's the empathy that we want our government to have with us. So our connective tissue is our core economic message. We're not going to win everyone over, but there are folks who are hurting, that are looking for leadership, who don't trust government, institutions, labels. They don't trust politicians. They don't trust Biden or Trump or even Bernie. Instead of calling out every Karen online for those retweets and those clicks, maybe identify a Karen who may be a former school teacher, a nurse, a grocery clerk. Maybe talk with them, listen to why they're hurting, try to peel away the emotional arguments and get to the root of their frustrations with society and politics and the communities they often unfairly blame. It's likely that their frustration is economic insecurity. If you can peel away your labels, and your anger against them, we may be able to peel away their labels and their anger and get to a common place. Our economic message, once we take out the socialist and progressive code language that sometimes triggers people who may not be open to our values, our economic ideas are the movement's olive branch that broadens our base and our support. But every time we label and we attack them, or worse, we attack each other, we lose our power. Our power only works when it's solid and expansive. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to convert the Tea Party or lifelong neoliberals, but the working class cannot afford to have leftists spending their energy arguing online over Jennifer Rubin's latest hit piece. You know who reads Jennifer Rubin? The Beltway, online socialists, and Jennifer Rubin's mom. We also make her more relevant by getting outraged by her and feeding her clicks. That's her moneymaker. So my advice is to talk to people who maybe aren't extremely online all the time. Talk with folks who aren't prime Democratic voters. Talk to your, apolitical cousins about student loan debt, your aunts and uncles about healthcare costs, your small business owner friend about the government's failure to support them during COVID. Next, look locally. Do you know who your legislators and council members are? Your county leaders, your DNC reps, your local party officials. It's really, really easy to investigate where they get their money from. If they're federal, it's on the FEC site. If it's local, Perhaps it's like the state's campaign financial reporting site. Just it's very easy to Google. Do they take real estate developer money, insurance money, pharma, fossil fuels? How much? Who endorsed them? What's their voting record? Do they tweet? Do they appear in the community? Have they shown up? Or is it just about speeches? Is it just about photo ops and protests, press conferences, and the rallies? Have they taken on powerful interests and gotten results? If they don't have a great record, maybe it's time to start speaking out, organizing groups to apply pressure. But this is key. If you do not live in a blue state or a blue community, you may want to form an issue-based group of citizens. If you attach a socialist or progressive label, it actually may turn off these voters who we are trying to bring in with that expansive economic language. Make it about the message. Remember that the majority of Americans are for Medicare for all. So how do we bring those that are outside of DSA into the circle to apply pressure to the powerful? One thing about calling people out for their money is that they look corrupt. When you're taking pharmaceutical money, that's not a red or a blue issue. That is a politician who likes to take money issue. And most voters don't like that. We have to map out who represents us locally. Many of these folks have never felt pressure or have ever had their records highlighted. Many don't have local newsrooms anymore looking into their records. And many haven't shown up. They haven't been challenged on the record or even electorally. Many seem to rule in darkness, but are actually casting votes in open meetings. Some are supported by political machines, and some are just rich white dudes who want to feel special and have a title. We need to shine the light, organize new democratic and decentralized groups that aren't beholden to big money or electoral power. We need to grow the pipeline of local leadership so our progressives have partners in state government so they can push back against the neoliberals in the right wing. We need to recruit and train more staff and organizers and work with progressive unions to do so. But we have no choice but to do it in solidarity with a unified, expansive economic message. If you have time right now and you want to channel this frustrated energy, start researching your local government and local organizations and unions. Every community is different and they have their own coalitions and pressure points. But if we want to build, we must map out who we want to bring into our circle, and we must stop splitting our circle into pieces. Exercise self-control. Take social media breaks. Focus on that long game and less on cheap Twitter takedowns that don't win us wars or even battles. It's really hard, and trust me, I know. But understand that there are people and organizations, even the ones that label themselves progressive, that make money and gain power off of those clicks and by being provocative and causing fights. To take power, we must understand where their power is and utilize our own power, which is only potent when it is solidified, when it's unified and thinking about the future. Thank you for watching. Support the Nomiki Show on YouTube by clicking subscribe, like, and sharing. Now more than ever, we need independent media. So we hope you'll join us on Patreon for special content and interviews for as low as $5 a month. That's like half a roll of toilet paper right now, or maybe an iced coffee in Manhattan. Go to patreon.com/The Nomiki Show. Thank you for watching. Support the Nomiki Show on YouTube by clicking subscribe, like, and sharing. Now more than ever, we need independent media, so please join us on Patreon for special content and interviews as low as $5 a month. That's like half a roll of toilet paper or an iced coffee in Manhattan. Go to patreon.com/The Nomiki Show. Thank you for watching. Support the Nomiki Show on YouTube by clicking subscribe, like, and sharing. Because now more than ever, we really need independent media. So please join us on Patreon for some of our special content. And we have special interviews too, for just as low as $5 a month. That's like, an iced coffee in Manhattan or half a roll of toilet paper at my house when I have to buy it from my dad to use it. Go to patreon.com/The Nomiki Show. That was horrible. Don't do that one. Thank you for watching. Ugh. Thank you for watching. Support The Nomiki Show on YouTube by clicking subscribe, like, and sharing. Because now more than ever, we need independent media. So join us on Patreon for special content and interviews, just as low as $5 a month, which is an iced coffee in Manhattan, or if I'm buying it for my dad, a cost of a roll of toilet paper. Go to patreon.com/The Nomiki Show. Thank you for watching. Support The Nomiki Show on YouTube by clicking subscribe, like, and sharing. Now more than ever, we need independent media. So we hope you'll join us on Patreon for special content and interviews for as low as $5 a month, which is an iced coffee in Manhattan or half a roll of toilet paper. You can join us on patreon.com/The Nomiki Show. Welcome to The Nomiki Show. I am Nomiki Konst on day 36 of self-quarantine. Today's show is all about power. We discuss the Bernie campaign's power dynamics with former senior advisor and investigative reporter David Sirota. But before that, we chat with power guru, master organizer Jane McAlevey, who is the author of No Shortcuts, Organizing for Power in the New Gilded Age. And she helps us understand what we need to do as a movement after Bernie. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button and share with folks on social. If you're interested in extra content, definitely join us on Patreon, patreon.com/The Nomiki Show. Thank you to Jane McAlevey and David Sirota, as well as Dorsey back in New York. And don't forget to tune into our live streams on Tuesday and Thursdays starting at 7 p.m. Eastern on YouTube. I will be taking your questions. So have a great week. Welcome to The Nomiki Show. I am Nomiki Konst on day 36 of self-quarantine. This is a show all about power. We discuss Bernie's campaign power dynamics with former senior advisor and investigative reporter David Sirota. But before that, we chat with the power guru and the master organizer Jane McAlevey, who's the author of No Shortcuts, Organizing for Power in the New Gilded Age. She helps us understand what we need to do as a movement after Bernie. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button and share with folks on social. And if you're interested in extra content, definitely join us on Patreon at patreon.com/The Nomiki Show. Thank you to Jane McAlevey and David Sirota, as well as Dorsey back in New York. And don't forget to tune into our live streams on Tuesdays and Thursdays, starting at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern on YouTube. I'll be taking your questions. Have a great week.